To be honest, I can only assume, and I can only assume he knows nothing. We've not been able to speak with him. As you saw, the senator has not been able to get in touch with him. I do not know if he knows anyone is fighting for him.
Rena, what is the legal path forward after the United States Supreme Court rules 9-0 that the Trump administration must facilitate his return, and the Trump administration basically says, nope, not going to do it?
Well, the court does have a number of different avenues of recourse. The court can hold them in contempt, can issue sanctions. Those are yet to be seen, and I think the court is being extremely fair in giving the government the opportunity to present their side and to show evidence that they have been actually complying.
The illegal and immoral deportation of Kilar Abgo Garcia might be the most disturbing thing we have seen from this Trump administration. And they seem to know it because they're panicking. Both because of the 90 Supreme Court ruling demanding Garcia be returned to his home, and after the shocking revelation that we saw from Senator Von Hollen today that Donald Trump's administration is paying for Garcia to be kept in El Salvador. It was so bad, in fact, that Carolyn Leavitt refused to take questions during her press conference today, knowing she couldn't defend the indefensible. But what was worse than Leavitt is what Donald Trump did, caught on video in the Oval Office. It will disturb you. We are going to get into it all. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel and the work we are doing to call out Donald Trump's administration. If you could hit that subscribe button, it goes a long way and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we get into what Donald Trump did today, I want to start with some updates from Abrigo Garcia's lawyer that came from MSNBC right here.
To push for the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Senator Van Hollen, who represents the state that Abrego Garcia called home for 15 years, says that Salvadoran authorities would not let him visit Abrego Garcia and that they denied his request to speak with him on the telephone. Joining us now is one of the attorneys representing Kilmar Abrego Garcia, partner at Murray Osario immigration law firm, Rena Gandhi. Rena, thank you for being here. Can you first tell us if you've had any contact with Mr. Abrego Garcia?
We have not.
What is your understanding of how he's doing, or what he is aware of in terms of this fight happening and reaching the Supreme Court?
To be honest, I can only assume, and I can only assume he knows nothing. We've not been able to speak with him. As you saw, the senator has not been able to get in touch with him. I do not know if he knows anyone is fighting for him.
Rena, what is the legal path forward after the United States Supreme Court rules 9-0 that the Trump administration must facilitate his return, and the Trump administration basically says, nope, not going to do it?
Well, the court does have a number of different avenues of recourse. The court can hold them in contempt, can issue sanctions. Those are yet to be seen, and I think the court is being extremely fair in giving the government the opportunity to present their side and to show evidence that they have been actually complying, and that is what the next 2 weeks are about.
Rena, the political sort of climate in this country seems to be able to hold these two things in their head. And we saw it at a town hall for longtime Republican Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa yesterday, where some of his constituents said, are you going to bring him home? You know, he's entitled to due process. That what is at issue here is not what appears to be on the White House's agenda, which is smearing Mr. Abrego Garcia, but the process, due process. How much does that sort of political conversation mesh with your legal strategy?
It really doesn't play a role. It is interesting that the government has decided to push this out today, the day after the court laid into them for their failure to comply with the Supreme Court's order. But it is a distraction, as you said, from the real issue at hand. The facts are Mr. Abrego Garcia was unlawfully removed from this country, taken from his family, and given no due process. That's it. And that's what we're fighting for.
Rita, do you have any sense in terms of the work on this case as to whether or not there are other cases where the facts suggest the people who were denied due process are not guilty of the things the Trump administration is alleging they are guilty of?
We have been receiving emails as a result of, the publicity around this case. I can't personally speak to that. Those are being handled by other attorneys who have their own strategies. But, I think it's been reported as such.
It is incredibly important that we continue to reiterate and push back against the lies of the White House. Not only did they unlawfully detain and deport this man, but they are defaming his name in the name of his family every single day with their lies. This was not an MS-13 gang member that was made clear by Donald Trump's own administration that admitted it. The Supreme Court stated clearly, this man has no criminal record and there was no reason for him to be deported. That has been made abundantly clear. There is nothing the White House can say otherwise, and that is why they are taking a different approach to trying to make the case for this disgusting deportation plan. And it started with this clip in the press room. And then we're going to get into what Donald Trump did.
To have a senator from Maryland who didn't even acknowledge or barely acknowledged my daughter and the brutal death that she endured, leaving her 5 children without a mother and now a grandbaby without a grandmother, so that he can use my taxpayer money to fly to El Salvador to bring back someone that's not even an American citizen. Why does that person have more right than I do, or my daughter, or my grandchildren? I don't understand this.
Now, the woman in that video is Patty Morin, who is a mother who lost her daughter to an MS-13 gang member. An incredibly tragic story, but one that has nothing to do with Kilar Garcia. And that is what Donald Trump and his administration are trying to communicate. That is what that stunt today in the press room was about, but it only got worse from there. And it only got worse from them stealing and abusing this woman's story to try to justify their illegal action. Because Donald Trump and his administration put out this video right after.
Beautiful.
Call a dear friend.
She's a beautiful woman. She's been through hell. She's been through hell, right?
Oh, yes.
Your daughter's looking down proud of you. You know that. Just keep it going.
I know.
Keep it going.
It's like you said.
Stay with that one.
It's like you said, we have a purpose.
It's a purpose. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
She's proud of you.
You can just tell Donald Trump does not care. And why would he? This is a man who has never cared about a person not named Donald Trump in his entire life. He does not care about this woman. He does not care that she lost her daughter. Remember that bipartisan border deal. Remember when Donald Trump talked about securing the border, has he done so? Have the Republican senators who wanted that bill passed but had to wait until after the election, have they spoken one word about it? No, of course not, because they don't care about the border. They don't care about immigration. They only care about talking about the issue. They do not care about people whose lives have been affected. They just want to use and abuse their stories. And that is exactly what we saw from Donald Trump. And it is sick. It is sick. Not only that they would use this woman's story, but they would use it to continue to defame and defend their action against a man who is innocent. That is what this is about. It is sick. It is twisted. It is gross. That is the Trump administration. They do not care who they have to hurt or who they have to use. They will go after you no matter what, in whatever means it takes. It is disgusting. It's gross. And Bernie Sanders ripped Donald Trump to shreds for it in this clip right here.
We are fighting a president who undermines our Constitution every single day and threatens our freedom of speech and freedom of assembly. We are fighting a president whose agents are rounding up innocent people off the streets, throwing them into unmarked vans, and sending them to detention centers here in the United States, in El Salvador and elsewhere. That is not what happens in a democracy. That's what happens in a dictatorship. And together, we are not going to allow Donald Trump to create an authoritarian society. You know, the founding fathers of our country were not dummies. They had just fought a war against the British Empire and defeated the most powerful person on earth at that time, the King of England. And they sat around and they said, you know what? As we develop our new country, this is in the 1790s, what they were saying is we do not want to give one person unlimited power. And they developed a separation of powers. We got an executive, a legislative branch, and a judiciary to keep check on each other. And every single day, you got a president who wants more and more power for himself. He is usurping the power of the Congress. He is now challenging in an unprecedented way the role of the judiciary in America. Supreme Court recently ruled in a 9-0 decision that a man who was illegally picked off the street and sent to El Salvador has got to be returned. A 9-0 decision of the Supreme Court. Mr. President, obey the law. But it is not just Congress and the judiciary whose power he is trying to assume. It is the media as well. Apparently, he does not understand that in America we have freedom of speech. He has sued ABC, CBS, Meta, the Des Moines Register. His FCC is now investigating NPR and PBS. Just the other day, he said that CBS should lose its license. You know what they did? They ran a program which was critical of some of his policies. How terrible.
If Donald Trump wants to get repeat offenders out of our country, he should start by looking in the mirror. I know he does it 3 hours a day when he's caking on his orange makeup. So maybe take a harder look next time. What is happening right now is incredibly disturbing. We have to call it out. And we have to make sure other Democrats, I know we always talk about how incredible the message AOC is delivering is Bernie Jasmine Crockett, Chris Murphy. We have to make sure, though, other Democrats are also stepping up. We have some incredible leaders of this party, but it should be the whole party, everybody. But we are not message testing. We are not focus grouping human rights. Speak up. Do your job. We're certainly going to be on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. Leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, I'll see you soon.